Look behind me. You might never guess, but back in here, there are hundreds of pounds of gourds. Ginormous, huge gourds. Like, there's 8 to 10 that are probably over 100 pounds each. One of them, I estimated the weight, it's over 160 pounds. And they're all back here hidden. Like, you would never guess. There's an apple tree, there's weeds, there's a gourd plant, but you would never guess. Actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was walking up the hill and I just saw the gourd for the first time, one of them, and I was shocked. I was like, that is huge. So there's 3 plants in here. One of them has like the root over there, another one has the roots over there, and the other one has the stem over there. So there's like a bunch of gourd mess going all over the place, but it's really cool. If you walk around here, let me show you first like some small ones. You see like this small gourd, it's like the size of my hand. And then you see there's like a bigger one in there. It's probably like, I don't know how big, but maybe like 40 pounds or something. And then you look over here, there's like a white sheet I put on top of the big ones, you know, to shade them from the sun. They can get really hot. But there's like a gourd there, there's another one there. There's like 2 more over there, and they're all really big ones. But it's crazy because they're hidden here in the mess of these plants. If you come all the way back here to the back of the patch, you can kind of see the gourds a little better. There's one right in here, and it's crazy. I don't know if the camera's gonna really show how big they are, but here's like a gallon jug beside it for like size comparison. Look how big that is. Yeah, the white sheet is to kind of protect it from the sun because the dark green color really attracts heat from the sunlight, and that can really heat them up and they stop growing. So I don't want them to do that. Here's another one that's pretty big. There's one over there. Let me bring this jug actually for size comparison. Look at this, there's a gallon jug. If we set it by the gourd, look how huge that is. That's almost the size of like an exercise bouncy ball that you would sit on. And then here's one that's really tall. It's actually growing on its side. Look at that. That's crazy. I don't know why. I just get so excited with gourds. Like it brings me joy to look at big gourds. So anyways, those are some of them. Let's see if I can show you the roots. This is the stem roots where everything's growing from. Look how big that is. It's like a thick, gnarly stump. That's pretty cool. And then over here, there's 2 big ones here. Oh, those are actually really big. Like those are easily the size of an exercise ball. Wow. So there's the stump that I just showed you right over there, and that kind of just expanded all over the place. You can just see it's kind of like a mess of gourd plants. I also want to show you right here, this is what it looks like when it's really small, just starting to grow. Like sometimes they have like a lump at the top, and then they get wide at the base. These are called bushel gourds. They grow, I think they're like an African gourd. Oh, here's one more really big one. But see how hidden it is. It's like, man, I gotta move the grass just to see it. It's got some scars, I guess, from bugs chewing on it when it was small. Another thing that's really interesting about these gourds is when they get mature, they actually start to get this cracking on the outside. And you start to see that when they get to that point where they're pretty close to done growing. But this is called cantalouping, and it's kind of funny because like that's actually what you see on cantaloupes, right? But it's yeah, just that cracking that shows that it's getting really mature. You can also see it over here on this gourd. There's like actually much bigger cantalouping right there. Also, a lot of people ask, you know, like what can you do with these giant gourds? Do you eat them or what? And I would say you don't really eat them. From what I understand, the flesh is really nasty. But they're just like any gourds where you can use them as decoration or use them for projects and stuff. I'm pretty sure you could probably dry these out and make a big ball, but you would need some kind of sealer to make it stronger. Like some sort of clear, you know, like sealant you put over it. But anyways, a few years ago I grew these and I dried out one of them and made like a huge bowl. And it was hard to dry because the flesh is so thick and there's a lot of moisture in there, so it wants to rot and mold as you do it. So what I did is I just like sprinkled salt on the flesh. Like I had chopped the gourd in half, put salt on the flesh, and that would draw the liquid out, and every day I would go scoop out like a few cups of liquid. And after doing that day after day, eventually there was nothing left, and I could scrape out all that extra flesh and just have the shell left. So really, these aren't very practical unless you want to use them for a project. But really, they're just cool. That's why I grow them. They're just cool to look at. So I also wanted to share with you guys a little analogy that really impacted me. Like when I first found these gourds, it just popped in my mind. The first one was when I found all this fruit. It was incredible. Like I knew there was plants. I knew I had planted them, but I kind of forgot about them. So when I saw how much fruit there was, I was like, that is so cool. And it brought to mind John 15 verse 8, where Jesus said, "By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples." So he describes that the reason we're disciples is so that we're gonna grow to bear much fruit, and then it's glorifying to our Father. And so when I saw these gourds, I'm like, man, I want my life to be like that, full of giant, huge fruit. You know, some people might say that's radical, or why are you going over the top for Jesus? And people might even make fun of us for trying to bear so much fruit for Jesus, really focusing on that. But when we're abiding in Jesus, and he's given us his power, giving us his strength, and we're bearing fruit for him, we know he's worthy. He deserves that. And so I want my life to be like that, bearing much fruit in my life, to where I'm doing things to glorify God. But the second thing that really impacted me about these gourds is when I found them, I was really impressed that there was that much fruit, and yet nobody really knew about them. And were the gourds concerned that nobody saw? Were they upset? Like, what? No one's giving us attention. No, they were just producing fruit to the glory of God. And that's been really encouraging and even convicting for me when it comes to humility. Because in our culture, there's a huge temptation and a huge push to want to do things to be seen by men. You know, you do something good and you want to like take a selfie and like, you know, put it on social media. And there's just in so many ways a temptation to want to have your heart drawn to the approval of men and people seeing you. But there's something so beautiful and so freeing of, like these gourds, living your life just for the glory of God. And Jesus actually talked about this in Matthew 6. He said, "Be careful not to do your charitable deeds before men to be seen by them. Otherwise, you have no reward from your Father in heaven." So he actually says to be careful not to look for a reward from men. Be careful not to do things to be seen by people. Don't be like the Pharisees, where they would stand on the corner of the street and pray just so people could see them praying, or dramatically giving to the poor so everyone sees, right? He says, no, if you do that, you have no reward from your Father in heaven. He says, when you serve God, do it in secret, so that your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. So there's two options and two rewards, two goals. You can either live for the reward that comes from men right now in this life, where people are proud of you and impressed, and that's what's making you feel really good, right? And if you do that, that's such a short, temporary reward. It's so unsatisfying. It's so temporary. But the other option is we can live in a way where we're looking to God, and all we care about is that he sees. We make him our audience of one, and then he will reward us openly when he returns. We will stand before him. He sees our life, and he'll reward us for absolutely everything. I love that picture of an audience of one. Imagine that you're on a stage and you're doing like a performance, right? But you don't care about anyone in the audience except for one person. And all you care about is what that one person in the audience thinks. It's your audience of one. Guys, I've decided, and I want to encourage you guys, let's make the Father, our Heavenly Father, let's make him our audience of one. Let's be free from the burden of looking around us and seeing if people notice. Let's live for God even when no one sees. Let's make it our aim to do things in a way where he's the one who sees. Even if that means doing things, like Jesus said, doing things in secret where no one else sees except for the Father. What if we did that? What if we just, like when we had the option, we chose to like make it so that nobody saw what we were doing? And just to have the joy that my Father sees, and that's what matters. That's so encouraging, guys. Let's be like these gourds with much fruit and doing things for the glory of God, growing that fruit for his approval only. Let's bear much fruit for Jesus, and let's remember to live for his approval alone. Live with an audience of one. His return is at hand.